Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to truly getting a handle on what's shaping our world. Today, we're plunging into a really fascinating stack of sources from July 28th, 2025. We're pulling from Al Jazeera, AP, DW, you name it. Our mission, as always, to help you cut through all that noise, pull out the vital insights, the surprising facts, and really understand what's actually happening globally. We've got quite a range today. We're talking global agreements, humanitarian crises, scientific breakthroughs, even a bit of pop culture. So let's get into it. Let's unpack this global briefing and see what truly stands out.
Okay, kicking things off with some pretty significant news on the global economic front. A major trade development between, well, two global powerhouses. Yeah, the U.S. and the EU. It looks like a new framework's been established. They've set a 15% tariff on most goods.
That's right, and crucially, this averts that much higher 30% rate that everyone was worried about. It was quite a threat looming.
Definitely removes some uncertainty. But there's more to it than just the tariff number, isn't there? Absolutely. What's really fascinating here is that the agreement also includes some substantial commitments from the EU side. Things like purchases of U.S. energy and investments, too. So it's got a strategic energy angle.
Okay, energy security playing a role.
And then there are these key exemptions. Certain strategic products, think aircraft parts, some chemicals, semiconductor equipment, they fall under a zero-for-zero tariff policy.
0 for 0, so no tariffs either way on those specific things.
Exactly. High-value sectors getting preferential treatment. The finer details, they're still being hammered out, but the overall direction is pretty clear.
So beyond just avoiding the higher tariffs, what does this mean? For the economy, for consumers?
Well, it directly impacts the global economy, obviously, and potentially consumer prices. Tariffs influence the cost of goods we buy every day. But strategically, even this 15%, it nudges both sides to maybe rethink supply chains. It might push for more regional production, perhaps, instead of just global efficiency for everything.
Like a shift towards managed trade, prioritizing stability, maybe?
Sort of, yeah. Less pure free market, more about stability and maybe strategic independence. For businesses, it means adjusting plans. For us, maybe subtle shifts in prices and availability over time. It impacts jobs, too, of course, both sides of the Atlantic.
Okay. While they're trying to stabilize economies, we have this stark reminder of human suffering coming out of Gaza, this tactical pause.
No.
It didn't seem to provide much relief.
No, the reality on the ground seems starkly different from the announcement. Israel announced a daily 10-hour pause for aid.
Right, to allow aid convoys in.
But Gaza's health ministry reported 63 Palestinians were killed by new Israeli strikes during that supposed pause period.
63 during the pause. That's deeply troubling.
It highlights a critical disconnect, doesn't it? And the UN is sounding the alarm, warning of a catastrophic humanitarian crisis. They're saying 100,000 women and children are facing famine-level starvation. Aid agencies are being very clear these announced measures are just nowhere near enough.
So the pause was almost symbolic against the scale of the need.
That seems to be the assessment from the aid groups. It really underscores the immense difficulty, the challenge of delivering aid effectively in such a complex and active conflict zone. It also, potentially erodes trust further.
Moving across continents now to Africa, a really disturbing act of violence in the DRC.
Yes, in Kamanda, eastern DRC. Dozens of worshippers were killed. Assailants armed with guns, machetes, stormed a Catholic church during a prayer vigil.
Horrific. And nearby homes and shops were attacked too.
That's right, burned down. The attack is being attributed to the Allied Democratic Forces, the ADF.
The ADF, they have links to ISIL, right?
They do. And they have a brutal track record in the region, sadly. Responsible for killing thousands of civilians over the years. It's a tragic example of the rising extremist violence in parts of Africa.
Just underscores the ongoing security challenges in that region. Okay, let's look at Syria now. A step towards, they're towards a post-conflict transition, maybe. They've set a date for parliamentary elections.
Yes. The transitional government announced elections for a 210-seat assembly. They're slated for September 15th to 20th.
210 seats. But the structure is a bit unusual.
It is. 1/3 of the seats will be appointed, not elected.
Okay. And the rest?
The other 2/3 will be elected, but through local electoral colleges. Not a direct popular vote.
Electoral colleges. So community leaders or regional figures voting, not the general population.
Essentially, yes. It's a system that can sometimes centralize power or limit broader participation. And this is all happening, remember, amidst deep national divisions. There's been deadly sectarian violence recently, especially in the South.
So this election format, combined with the violence, it poses a real challenge to Syria's fragile transition.
A significant challenge, yes. It raises questions about legitimacy, about inclusivity. It's a really critical step to watch in Syria's post-conflict path, but it's fraught with difficulties.
Right. Staying with international relations but shifting to East Asia. Tensions on the Korean peninsula. North Korea's rejected talks with the South.
Flatly rejected them. They issued a statement saying they have no interest in talks with South Korea's new government.
Dismissing the outreach efforts as sentimental and miscalculated. Pretty blunt language.
Very blunt. The statement came from Kim Yo-jong, Kim Jong-un's sister, who's quite influential. She cited Seoul's blind trust in its U.S. alliance and what they call confrontational policies.
So no sign of de-escalation there. It sounds like a hardening stance.
Exactly. It suggests Pyongyang is perhaps doubling down on its current approach, maybe feeling emboldened by relationships elsewhere. It certainly makes any path towards reducing tensions much more difficult, a key indicator of the geopolitical climate there.
Okay, let's circle back to the Middle East, specifically Iraq. Internal security issues seem to be flaring up again.
Yes, a gunfight erupted in Baghdad's Kark district. Fighters from the Popular Mobilization Forces, the PMF, stormed an agriculture ministry building.
Stormed a ministry building. Why?
Their stated reason was to block the replacement of a director there, trying to prevent a personnel change, essentially.
And this led to a gunfight, with casualties.
Sadly, yes. At least one police officer was killed, and 9 others wounded. Authorities later detained 14 PMF fighters.
And these fighters belong to specific brigades.
Yes, brigades linked to Kataib Hezbollah. That's a powerful Iran-backed faction within the PMF umbrella with significant political clout.
So this really highlights the ongoing challenge in Iraq where these powerful armed groups can directly challenge state authority.
Precisely. It shows the complex power dynamics, the internal security struggles, and how factional interests can undermine government institutions and overall stability.
All right, let's end this segment on a slightly more hopeful note, maybe. De-escalation potentially in Southeast Asia.
That's right, Thailand and Cambodia.
Yeah.
After 4 straight days of deadly clashes along their shared border, they've actually agreed to ceasefire talks.
4 days of deadly clashes. That sounds serious. But talks are happening.
Yes, crucial talks scheduled for July 28th, mediated by Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur. This came after diplomatic intervention from the UN and the US.
Mediation involved. That's key.
Absolutely. It's a really positive development for regional stability. Border disputes can escalate so quickly. The fact that diplomacy with international support seems to be working here is a good sign, a good example of conflict resolution efforts potentially bearing fruit.
Okay, let's shift our focus now to the planet itself. And we start with a pretty sobering climate warning from Antarctica.
Yes, the Thwaites Glacier, often called the Doomsday Glacier. New research shows it's exhibiting signs of accelerated fracturing,
Accelerated fracturing. Where exactly?
particularly within its eastern ice shelf. This part has been acting like a sort of buttress, holding back the main glacier flow if it weakens significantly.
That could speed up the whole glacier's movement into the ocean.
That's the concern. The findings raise serious worries about the glacier's overall stability. Its total collapse, though likely over centuries, not tomorrow, could eventually raise global sea levels by up to 11 feet.
11 feet. That's staggering. A major indicator of climate change impact then.
A profound one. It really underscored the long-term consequences and the agency of understanding these massive ice systems.
And from melting ice to extreme heat. A major heat wave across the U.S. right now.
A very dangerous one, yes.
Yeah.
Prolonged and expanding. More than 170 million people are under heat alerts.
170 million. What kind of temperatures are we talking?
The feels-like temperatures, factoring in humidity, have surpassed 110 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 40...
Well, that's dangerous.
Exactly. Significant public health risks heat stroke, worsening existing conditions, plus immense strain on infrastructure, like power grids dealing with air conditioning demand.
Urgent warnings going out then.
Yes, meteorological services are issuing strong warnings. It's another really potent sign of shifting climate patterns affecting daily life on a huge scale, forcing us to adapt.
Okay, but amidst these climate concerns, there's also some positive environmental news. A remarkable conservation success story.
This is pretty incredible, actually. Researchers using drones have discovered the largest known nesting site for the threatened giant South American river turtle.
The largest ever. How many turtles?
Over 41,000 individuals counted along the Guapare River in the Amazon.
Wow. And drones were key to this.
Absolutely. It wasn't just flying over and counting. They used high-resolution drone imagery combined with sophisticated statistical analysis for a really accurate population count. This kind of tech lets them survey vast areas without disturbing the animals, which would be almost impossible on the ground.
So it's not just a nice story, it shows how technology can genuinely boost conservation efforts.
Exactly. Providing data we just couldn't get before, which helps develop much better protection strategies. A real win.
And sticking with Antarctica for a moment, another fascinating scientific discovery. This one seems to add a bit of nuance to the ice loss picture.
It does. It's quite intriguing. Researchers have found these vast, very flat landscapes buried under the East Antarctic ice sheet. Landscapes carved by ancient rivers millions of years ago.
Ancient river landscapes under the ice, and they might be helping.
Potentially, yes. They're calling it a stabilizing discovery. The idea is that these incredibly smooth surfaces, which have somehow remained intact for over 30 million years,
30 million years.
might actually be slowing down the rate of ice loss. They provide a more stable, less frictional base for the ice sheet as it moves over them.
Huh. So the land beneath the ice plays a bigger role than we thought.
It seems so. It challenges some assumptions, adds complexity to the climate models. It shows how nature has these intricate interactions, sometimes providing unexpected buffers or feedbacks. Really fascinating stuff.
All right, let's pivot now to some societal challenges and aspects of daily life, starting with a deeply concerning incident in Michigan.
Yes, the mass stabbing at a Walmart.
Yeah.
The suspect is now facing terrorism charges after 11 people were wounded.
Terrorism charges. That classification is significant, isn't it?
It is. It suggests investigators believe there was an ideological motive behind the attack, not just random violence. It triggers a different kind of investigation and response.
And some victims are still in critical condition.
Yes, 6 of them remain critical. It plugs directly into those ongoing discussions about domestic security, violent crime trends, and the threat of ideologically motivated violence. A very grim reminder.
Okay, on a much more positive note, regional cooperation in Africa. Rwanda and Tanzania partnering up.
Yes, focused on agriculture. Their governments have signed 2 cooperation agreements, specifically aimed at strengthening their agricultural sectors.
What kind of cooperation are we talking about?
Things like improving shared infrastructure, roads, logistics, and tackling challenges in the trade and transport of agricultural goods between the 2 countries.
So, practical steps to boost food security and help farmers.
Exactly. It's about bolstering regional food security, creating better market access. It's a good example of positive economic cooperation focused on practical outcomes, aiming for stability and prosperity.
Now for a moment of cultural celebration. Recognizing a true animation icon, Bugs Bunny turned 85.
85 years since his first official appearance. It's a huge milestone in animation history.
His debut was in A Wild Hair, right? Back in 1940.
That's the one. Warner Bros. Short film. Even got an Oscar nomination. But Bugs Bunny is more than just a cartoon character, isn't he?
Definitely feels that way.
His quick wit, that clever way he gets out of trouble, his whole personality.
Yeah.
It's influenced generations of animators, comedians, storytellers. He really shaped comedic timing and character archetypes.
85 years and still instantly recognizable. What's up, Doc?
Exactly. His timeless charm, those catchphrases, they still work. Shows the power of a really well-crafted character.
Okay, back to some more concerning news now, unfortunately. Public safety and infrastructure. A fatal train derailment in Germany.
Yes, in southern Germany, near Riedlingen. A regional passenger train carrying about 100 people derailed.
And fatalities were involved.
Tragically, yes. 3 people died, including the train driver. And at least 50 others were injured.
Do they know what caused it?
Not definitively yet. But there were severe storms and heavy rain beforehand. Authorities are investigating if a landslide related to the weather might have caused it.
Ah, so extreme weather could be a factor.
It's a strong possibility. It really brings into focus travel safety and how resilient our infrastructure is, especially when facing these increasingly intense weather events linked to climate change, raises important questions.
And another tragic incident, this one highlighting crowd safety issues. A stampede in India.
Yes, at the Mansa Devi Temple in Haridwar. Very crowded place. A stampede there killed 6 people and injured more than 24 others on Sunday.
A stampede at a temple? How did it start?
Authorities think it began after a devotee slipped on the path, and there might have been rumors unconfirmed of a snapped electrical wire, which could have caused panic in that dense crowd.
Rumors spreading panic. That happens easily in crowds.
It does. They've ordered a magisterial inquiry to figure out exactly what went wrong. But it's another stark reminder about crowd management, especially at large religious gatherings or public events. Safety protocols are crucial.
Okay, and finally for this segment, let's look at South America. The social impact of economic policies in Argentina.
Right. Protests are happening. Human rights groups are speaking out against mass government layoffs.
Layoffs as part of President Milei's austerity plan.
Exactly. And these aren't just any government jobs. Some of the dismissed workers were involved in investigating crimes from Argentina's former military dictatorship.
Wow, so that has implications for historical justice, too.
It certainly does. Milei's plan is drastic, aimed at tackling hyperinflation, which has been a huge problem, and reports suggest it has cut inflation rates somewhat.
But at a significant social cost.
Clearly. It sparked major social unrest. It really shows that tough balancing act. Trying to fix a struggling economy with broad measures often has very direct, very difficult consequences for ordinary citizens and even for crucial government functions.
All right, let's wrap up our deep dive today with a moment of just pure sporting brilliance.
Yes, shifting gears completely. South African cricket legend A.B. de Villiers. He's lit up the World Championship of Legends tournament.
Another century. That's the second one in the tournament, isn't it?
It is. And this one was incredible. 123 runs scored off just 46 balls. Just explosive batting.
123 off 46. Where was this?
This was during a match for the South Africa champions against the Australia champions, playing in Leeds in the UK.
De Villiers. He always had that unique 360-degree style. Still got it, clearly.
Absolutely. Even at 41, to produce that kind of high-octane entertainment and skill is just inspiring. A great example of a sports legend continuing to thrill fans. Some fantastic entertainment news there.
Wow, okay. That really was quite the journey around the world today, wasn't it?
It certainly was, from those intricate global trade deals and geopolitical hotspots to, melting glaciers, new discoveries under the ice, and even a cricket legend doing amazing things.
So much ground covered.
And what we hope you take away from all this, from this deep dive, isn't just like a list of facts. We hope it's a richer, maybe more nuanced understanding of the forces actually shaping our world.
Because all these pieces connect, right?
Exactly. Every single piece of information, whether it's a major conflict or a cultural anniversary, it connects to a larger story, a bigger narrative.
Think about how that US-EU trade deal could eventually filter down to your wallet, or how the fate of one Antarctic glacier has these huge potential consequences for sea levels globally.
Yeah, understanding those connections, those ripple effects, that's what empowers you, we think, to be a truly informed, engaged citizen of the world.
Well said. We certainly hope you enjoyed this deep dive into today's most important nuggets of knowledge. And don't forget, follow us on Spotify to listen to this podcast every morning at 8 a.m.